Welcome, everybody. Glad to have you today. I always try and talk positively about the industry, and we talk about how things should go and what we want to do to make things right and the right moves to make in business and all of those sorts of things. You know the channel. You've been here before. I appreciate it. Today, I want to talk about what happens when things go wrong. It's inevitable in life. We all know this. We've all made mistakes. Things happen. These companies that we work for, and ourselves included, are humans. We make mistakes. We don't like to make mistakes. And of course, we pay good money for mistakes not to be made, but inevitably they do. I had an experience recently where FedEx made some very, very specific mistakes, and specifically the people in FedEx. It wasn't a systematic failure. It was an error. It was an error on a human associate's part. And as you all know, if you've seen my channel before, and even if you haven't seen before, I'll tell you, I use Redline Shipping exclusively. And people ask me why I use Redline Shipping exclusively. And it's for the customer service and the support that I get from the Redline team, the people behind the scenes that know the shipping industry, that also know the reptile industry. Most of their, if not all of their staff, are reptile keepers and enthusiasts as well. And that combination of knowledge and care and concern and really culture at Redline is why I use Redline. I mean, to boil it right down, that's exactly why, the people at Redline. What I thought today would be good to do and good to share was the team at Redline was a massive help in helping figure out what happened, and ultimately, which is always the goal, of getting the animal to its destination safely. The Redline team did a great job working with FedEx and working with me, and the animal did arrive safely. It was a day late, but it was still safe. It was well cared for, and the new owner is extremely happy. This was a family pet purchase, so it was really great to have that. Can you imagine how detrimental it would have been to the industry for it to have a DOA to that family? So I was really, really thankful that this landed right. And what I wanted to do, I reached out to Robyn, the founder at Redline. He followed up with me to say, how did things go? And I said, it went fantastic, and props to your team. And they always do a great job. But this was really a sensitive time. Again, can you imagine a first-time snake owner mom buying this snake for the kid's family pet? What a traumatic experience it would have been, and probably was, while they were waiting for it. But because of the Redline team, and credit where it's due after the errors, credit to the FedEx crew as well, I was able to assure her that we thought that the odds were very high that it would arrive safely, and it did in fact arrive safely. So what I wanted to do today was to bring Robyn, the founder of Redline, and Ed Komara from the support team at Redline to talk about what happens when things go wrong at FedEx and how they help and why they're able to help, and really demonstrate why I choose Redline Shipping. Guys, a disclaimer, full transparency. I work with Redline Shipping. I'm proud to work with Redline Shipping. We've had a business relationship for over 2 years now. And if you go to Redline Shipping and use the promo code PROPER5, you could get yourself $5 off of your next shipping label. I highly recommend you going to use them. You'll see why today in our video. Robyn, welcome. I'm glad to have you. For those that don't know, Robyn's been a massive supporter of Proper Royals for a long time, and I'm thankful for that, but also thankful to be recognized and aligned with Redline Shipping. So welcome. Glad to have you on, as always.
Thanks, man. Good to see you, Adam.
Good to see you, too. Great job by the team. The family was really happy. The mom was so relieved. It was one of those conversations where I don't really bring up what the worst case scenario could be, but in my mind, I'm going, oh, please don't let this happen, So I was so happy to see that animal arrive safely.
I thought it was interesting that you had such a delay. It was an unusual situation, but I was really happy my team was on it. I wanted to bring Ed on with me because he personally handled a lot of the details on the package. Sometimes people get confused and think that I'm behind the scenes doing all the work, and that's really not the case. I've got an amazing support team that really does the day-to-day package handling and problem solving. So I thought the circumstance was really interesting. Instead of trying to gloss over it and kind of hide it, I thought it'd be really interesting to spotlight this type of a circumstance where things do go wrong, and how we address it, how we attack it, and how we look to solve it so that we can get the animal delivered, still safe and healthy in circumstances like this. So thanks for having me on. Yeah, I was nervous for a day watching that package and watching the reports from the team, but I'm glad to hear it turned out good in the end.
Well, likewise. And you always want to I always want to provide amazing customer services. I know that you all do as well. Our visions are aligned that way. But this was just a really special one. I was like, sometimes industry people understand this happens and it comes with being in the industry. But we never want that to happen. We always want the animals first. When you drop off a package at FedEx, sometimes, and I don't know why, I'm sure Ed and Robyn can speak to it, they actually reprint the label, or more specifically, just a barcode with the tracking number, and they put that on the bottom of your label that you've already got attached to your package. And somehow, some way, what happened was the associate at FedEx printed two of the same label but put it on two different packages. So very specifically, I had a package going to Houston and I had a package going to Iowa. Both packages ended up in Houston the next morning because the same barcode and tracking number were affixed to both packages when they should have been different. One should have gone to Houston and one should have gone to Iowa. I didn't know this happened, and I certainly didn't check the labels and the tracking numbers that were affixed to the packages by the associate. So I do intend to do that from now on, sort of as a hard lesson learned, but I didn't know that at the time. The next morning, I get a phone call very early, and I actually thought it was spam, but I looked, it said FedEx, pick up the phone, and it was a different associate in Houston saying, we have a live animal that's supposed to be in Iowa. I don't know why it's in Houston. I said, no, look at both of those labels I affixed. One says Houston, one says Iowa. She says, I see that. How did it end in Houston? I said, well, I believe your associate misdirected it incorrectly. How that happens, why that happens, I don't know, but it was human error. And that's where Redline stepped in between the communication with FedEx. And then I got in touch with Redline as well. What were you all able to find out? And then where does your team step in, and where's that value add? I know this is the crux of the pitch, of the value addition that Redline brings. So walk us through that, guys.
Yeah. So it was one of those things where first thing in the morning, we check the emails, we check all the stuff, inquiries, but the biggest thing that we check every single morning that we go through is the audit for possible delays and stuff like that. We ran an audit, and within less than 20 minutes, I actually called on yours, and they did let me know that there was a missort, which sometimes happens. It's not common at all. And then by the time you reach back out to us, that's when you spoke to Jackie and kind of got a little bit more of the intricate details. And then from there, literally within less than 24 hours from it going to the wrong place to going back to Memphis to within that next morning going to Iowa, it was there, which was pretty incredible.
A FedEx customer can't call the same people that you guys call. What's the access that you get that I'm not going to, if I call FedEx's number, I'm lucky to get a human being, much less somebody in Houston on the ground with a live animal in their hands.
We work with the premier team at FedEx, which is the highest level of customer service. It's not the 1-800 number that you would call as just a regular consumer. It's a special premier team of FedEx customer service folks that can look deeper into packages. They're the ones that we work with to solve issues. And at this point, I've been working with the premier team for 15 years, back to my SYR days, back, when we started in 2009. They do a great job in working with us to solve more complex problems. In this case, it's a package that's multiple states away from its supposed destination, and there's some confusion about where it needs to be. So we have to put eyes on the package, then we got to put hands on the package, then we got to put the proper label back on the package and make sure it gets to its destination as soon as possible. And in this case, we were able to get it turned around in just 24 hours. So it was a day late, which is never ideal, but we did get it there the next day. And because the shipper in this case did a great job on the packaging and the temperatures, and the shipper would be you, Adam. The animal itself is not going to be in danger. The animal itself is protected by the packaging that we provide. And because you ship according to our guidelines, that 1-day delay is not going to jeopardize the health of the animal. But we still want to get it on the way as soon as possible. So to be able to work with the premier team, to be able to work the Redline team with literally decades of experience amongst us, that's what really makes it possible to solve these problems quickly and get the animals delivered safely.
Well, that institutional knowledge of 15 years is such a massive value. Anybody who's been at a company for that long of a time, that just speaks to the insight and the value that Redline can bring. Thank you for the kind words on shipping and packaging. However, I get all my goods from Redline and my guidelines from Redline.
Yeah, and you mentioned the insurance side, which is also important. And I developed the insurance program years and years ago. At its base, the insurance is there for when FedEx screws up. That's what it's for. It's not anything goes. You can't just throw a ball python in a Lucky Charms box and ship it and you're insured. That's not how it works. Right. Your job as the shipper is to follow the proper packaging guidelines, the temperature guidelines, and the heat pack use guidelines. If you do that part of your job and your responsibility, then you should expect that even in the case of a delay, the animal is going to arrive safe and sound. I developed the guidelines, and they're fairly conservative. But I set those guidelines to say, if you ship within these guidelines, these temperature guidelines, the heat pack use guidelines, and in the proper packaging, I'm very, very confident that even in the case of a delay, your animal is going to arrive safe and sound. And that's what's most important, is the safe live transport of the animals. We have to put the animals first. That's why we have no ship periods. That's why we have the temperature guidelines. When you did your shipment, and it just so happens in this case that FedEx did screw up. They swapped out the labels. They put the wrong tracking number on that label and sent it in completely the opposite direction. But that's exactly why the insurance exists, for when FedEx screws things up. They do screw up once in a while, and that's what we're there to solve those problems and give a good positive result in the end.
Could you guys talk a little bit about that?
So we run an audit every morning to kind of just ascertain where we're at with packages. Where are we at with overnight delays? Was there a storm in Memphis? Was there a power outage in Memphis? So we kind of get an idea of where we're at first thing in the morning. We also have a watch list, and we put packages that are of concern on our watch list, and we monitor those throughout the day. Maybe they're running late. Maybe it's a more common issue, like somebody forgot to put an apartment number, or maybe it's a bad zip code, or it's Main Street instead of Main Court, or whatever, simple mistake like that. And then we have different shifts of people throughout the day. Ed works in the morning, Jackie works in the evening. As the day progresses, maybe Ed works a package, or Erica works a package, or AJ is working a package. We push that package forward through the day, and then at the end of Ed's day, he'll pass off a report to the rest of the team that's going to then finish the day and say, hey, this is what we're looking for. Let's watch Adam's package. Adam's package in Houston. This is the details of it. We want to make sure it gets rerouted to Iowa. Whatever issue might be outstanding, we pass those off very specifically to say, hey, let's keep an eye on this package. Let's make sure it gets to its destination. Let's update the shipper. Let's update the recipient. Then I watch the end of day reports, and I often then chime in and say, hey, I need an update on this package as well, just for myself.
The biggest thing for us is that we pride ourselves on actually knowing the customers. Like you said, like you think you get special treatment, but every customer gets that same treatment.
I think all of this is just great evidence as to why I choose to use Redline Shipping. It's a deeper conversation than just, hey, here's a price on a label. I can't put a price on how happy I was when I found out that family got a healthy snake that arrived that they were looking so much forward to, first for their own happiness, but also as a steward of the industry. I don't want DOAs being anybody's experience, but certainly not anybody's first experience. As you can see, the team at Redline was an integral part of making that happen, because things will happen, mistakes will happen. And while we expect perfection from our shipping partners at FedEx, they are humans just as we are. Gentlemen, thanks for your time today. Thanks for digging deep into this. I think it brings value to the industry, and it brings value to the audience to understand what you all do at Redline Shipping.
Thanks, Adam. Appreciate it.
Anytime, Adam. We're always here for you guys.
Thank you, guys. It's always a pleasure. I'll see you all soon. There you go, guys. From Redline Shipping, from the people that are the boots on the ground. We never want to see something like that happen, but I thought this was a great opportunity to dive in when things do go wrong at FedEx. Don't forget, you can use the promo code PROPER5 at redlineshipping.com. Get yourself $5 off of your next shipping label if you haven't used it already. The customer experience, both from the support standpoint, but also booking and ordering online, is second to none. You see the support that you get at Redline. Go check them out if you haven't. Thanks for watching today. I'll see you next time.